Hey, do you know what time it is? That's right. It's time for Coach Lindy's podcast. The podcast to get you moving. Hi, I'm Lindy Hutchinson, a certified life mastery consultant with the Brave Thinking Institute. As a life coach, I help others transform their life as I have mine. It's not easy, but it is possible, and it most certainly is worth it. Each week, I'll share insights that inform, inspire, and ignite in you your desire to create a life that you love. So let's find out what's going on this week. So, if I said to you, Emily Warren Roebling, what would be your reaction? Yeah, me too. Huh? I don't recognize the name. How about if I said the Brooklyn Bridge? Oh, that one I know. Hi, it's Coach Lindy. Welcome to the podcast. And today we're going to take a few minutes and talk about another amazing woman who did great things and is a true inspiration. Emily Warren Roebling. She was born in 1843 and she passed in February 28th, 1903. And she is known for being an engineer, a civil engineer, for more than 10 years, helping to complete the Brooklyn Bridge. So how did Emily get there? Because we know in the 1800s, most women were not doing anything like that. So we will find out. She was born into a wealthy family. She was number 11 of 12 kids. And she took a powerful interest in education early. Now the good news, like some other ladies that we've talked about in history, she had some support. One of her brothers was a major general in the Civil War, which was apparently going on about that time, or getting ready to go on. And she attended what is called today the Georgetown Visitation Preparatory School. So she did get a higher education. Now, usually women of means back in those times, they had soirees and teas. Not that that's bad, okay. But it's amazing to me when a woman has kind of everything and she goes for knowledge. She wants to learn more and she wants to contribute. And that's certainly how Emily was. So in 1864, during the Civil War, she visited her brother at the 5th Army Corps headquarters, and she went to a soldier's ball, and that's where she met her future husband, Washington Roebling, who was a civil engineer, and his dad, John Roebling, was in the middle of working on the design and soon the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge. So they got married in 1865, and while John, the dad, was doing the preliminary work for the Brooklyn Bridge, the newlyweds, Emily and Washington, now Roebling, they went to Europe and they studied the use of caissons. In layman's terms, those are like big, deep holes that they are able to keep dry and create a working space for the foundation of the bridge. John Roebling, the dad, at this point he's already created many successful suspension bridges and had a very successful and impressive career. They did have one child, Emily and Washington Roebling. They had John Jr., and she gave birth while they were in Europe, in Germany. Now, when they came back, tragedy struck, unfortunately. And John Roebling, the dad, had an injury, I believe, to his foot, and it got infected. There was problems, and in 1869, he died. The good news is Washington, his son, and now his daughter-in-law were both civil engineers, and they were very well versed in building suspension bridges and caissons. So Washington Roebling was doing very well with the continuation of the building of the Brooklyn Bridge. Unfortunately, they didn't know what the bends, what we call the bends, was, or compression, what they call it, decompression sickness, is going down deep and then coming up too fast. I think it has to do with the nitrogen in the blood or something. Anyway, the good news was it did not kill him, because he would go down into the caissons and he oversaw the work and he was checking things out. Several people died because they didn't know. The good news was it did not kill him. The bad news is that he was bedridden pretty much for the rest of his life. So who do we have? Our heroine, Emily, because she isn't just a gopher with information, but she also is a civil engineer, and she knows all about strength of materials, stress analysis, cable construction, and some other things I can't pronounce. And she's no dummy. So while Washington is confined to bed, the good news is he still has his faculties. He's able to still keep the work going, but he needs a physical body who also understands, and that is our hero, Emily. So she, for over 10 years, this wasn't, like 6 months, for over 10 years, she was dedicated to seeing the completion of the Brooklyn Bridge. And she took over much of the engineer duties, day-to-day supervision and management. And this meant that she had to deal with politicians and competing engineers and everybody associated to the building of the bridge, which, as you might guess, was a pretty big deal. In fact, in 1882, Washington's title of chief engineer was in jeopardy because he was absent. And people, of course, no one can just let something go and just admire that the work is going along beautifully. But they challenged it, and Emily had to lobby for her husband to retain his title of chief engineer, basically because he's still doing the work, and she was the communicator and director. Fortunately, the politicians responded well, and they let them keep doing what they were doing, and in 1883, the bridge was completed. And in appreciation for all her work, Emily was the first one to cross the bridge in the opening ceremony, and she was bringing a rooster, which I guess represented a sign of victory. I don't know why a rooster, but there it was. And she received a very nice kudos in the opening ceremony. Abraham Stevens Hewitt said that the bridge was an everlasting monument to the sacrificing devotion of a woman and her capacity for that higher education from which she has been too long disbarred. So Emily was a rock star. Yay, Emily! So this week, Emily Warren Roebling, our power word is dynamic, and our train your brain thought is a Brooklyn Bridge saved by a dynamic lady. When you read about it, of course, I like YouTube, Google and YouTube for information. There's a lot of information about Emily on YouTube. It's all free. And when you follow up with the rest of her life, she did not just sit down and knit booties, again, not a bad thing, but she had the position and power to keep her celebrity going, and she championed the rights for women and opened doors that probably were closed up until then. She ended up in 1896. She met Queen Victoria, and apparently not too much longer after that, she was in Russia for the coronation of Tsar Nicholas II. So she got around in a very, very good way. And if you read about her accolades, she received many. And we certainly, for those of us who've been to the Brooklyn Bridge and we know what it does, it makes us very happy to see that, one, it was completed by competent people, regardless of who they are or what gender they are. So, Emily Warren Roebling, our hero for this week. Robin Williams is in our Hey, That's Funny file. He said, if it's a psychic network, why do they need a phone number? Thank you, Robin. The late, great Robin Williams. So, here we are. Another day, another week. Enjoy your week. Keep building a life that you love because you are worth it. And I will look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Hey, thanks for joining me this week. I look forward to being with you every week. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, please email me at coachlindy@lindyhutchinson.com. My name is spelled Lyndi, so it's Coach Lindy, Lyndi, at Lindy Hutchinson, LYNDIHUTCHINSON.com. I value what your input is, and I'm always open for suggestions and ideas. If you will like and or subscribe to this podcast, that would be wonderful. I appreciate it. And I enjoy anything that you might want to send in, or if you would like some more information about coaching, send me an email and I will get back with you, and we'll talk about how you can create your best life. Have a good week. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.